That's some good old-fashioned Southern style spaghetti. Now, when I say Southern style, I'm talking about the Southern United States. Now, in the South, unlike most spaghetti recipes where the spaghetti is laid on a plate then covered with meat sauce, we cook it all together. Now, spaghetti and tomato sauce actually dates back to the 1800s in Naples or Sicily, Italy. We ain't quite sure, but it came from Southern Italy. Now, it became popular in America with the 19th century wave of Italian immigration. Now, initially it was only served in Italian restaurants, but soon it was spread to the entire population of America. Now, one of the reasons that spaghetti and tomato sauce became popular is because it was cheap and delicious. Look, there ain't nothing like a little hug in poverty to get you to try something new. But you know, as good as spaghetti and sauce is, unfortunately, everybody's story don't have a happy ending. The fact is, some people had the misfortune of growing up in the house where the spaghetti was absolutely terrible. I mean bad, like rinse the boiled spaghetti noodles off and then cover them with ketchup and no meat, man. Ugh. Like, why is it that when somebody has a terrible spaghetti recipe, they insist on making it in 5-gallon bags? Now, I don't know what that's about. Now, I didn't have that problem. My mom always made great spaghetti growing up. But let me tell you what, there was something I learned at Court Villa Apartments in Nashville, Tennessee, back in the mid-90s that changed the way I made spaghetti forever. We used to have these get-togethers in college where we would get together with some ladies and watch the Monday night football game. Now, the ladies would normally prepare, bring all the food, and we'd supply all the drinks. And of course, I'ma always make my way into the kitchen where they were cooking, for quality control purposes, and to make sure everything's on the up and up. Well, in that kitchen that day was someone I want to recognize and give credit to, because without her, this spaghetti recipe wouldn't be possible. And that's Miss Beverly Wade. Now I want to reveal her exact recipe, but she did something that I had never seen before, and that was to use beef and smoked sausage in the spaghetti. I was amazed. I was like, what kind of sorcery is this? You mean you can put smoked sausage in spaghetti? What? Up until that point, I thought you just use Italian sausage and beef in spaghetti, or just beef. But let me tell you what, I ain't used Italian sausage since. Man, I don't care what kind it is. It's sweet, basil, whatever. Keep it at the stove. Smoked sausage only for me, please. By the way, she used Hillshire Farm, and that's what I use today, except when I use Conecuh sausage, Alabama. So, again, I want to thank you, Miss Beverly. Now, the ingredients are pretty simple. We need 1 pound of ground chuck of ground beef, 1 pound of your favorite smoked sausage, 1 large bell pepper, 3 or 4 celery stalks, a large yellow onion, 8 to 10 cloves of garlic, because I make it heavy, 1 pound of Barilla No. 5 spaghetti, or you can use any type of spaghetti that was run through a bronze die. It'll say it on the label. You're gonna need 2 cans of Hunt's 4-cheese spaghetti sauce, or your favorite grocery store generic version. You're gonna need a half cup brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of basil, 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, 1 or 2 tablespoons of that good old Irish Caesar sauce. You're gonna need a couple tools too, because you can't cook it in your hand. You're gonna need 2 at least 6-quart pots. You're gonna need a strainer, a silicone spatula. You're gonna need if you're using a non-stick pan, you're gonna need a nylon hamburger, a bean masher, a chef's knife, and a cutting board. Let's go. First thing you need to do is to wash off your celery and bell pepper, because we don't want no dirt in the spaghetti. Rough cut your celery stalks by slicing them long ways first, and you get about 2 or 3 long slices out of each one of them stalks. Then you're gonna cut up your bell pepper, then you cut your onions, and then your garlic. Now, don't worry if you ain't got fresh garlic. You can just use garlic powder, or you can use the minced garlic in the garlic. That's all of them's fine. Now, you want to go ahead and put this in your bowl and set these aside for later. Now, whatever you do not chop the vegetables too small. I used to do that, but I stopped doing it because my wife said it'd make them disappear into the sauce, and you know what? She was right. We want to make sure that they still stand out after the sauce is done, so dicing them bigger gives you more flavor in each bite, and then the veggies will also be almost candied at the end. And plus, it's way less chopped. Go ahead and cut up your 1 pound of smoked sausage. Now I'm using Hillshire Farm. They used to give you a whole pound, but they done hit us with the shrinkflation, and the pack is only 14 ounces now. But it'll still work fine in the recipe. Just want to make sure that you cut the smoked sausage into small pieces. That way, you're going to get a bit of the smoked sausage in each bite. Let's go ahead and set aside the chopped smoked sausage for later. Turn the stove on the medium and brown your 1 pound of your ground chuck or your ground beef, using the bean masher to break the beef into small pieces. You want to make sure it's broke down into small pieces so that it get evenly distributed throughout the meat sauce. Whatever you do, do not leave the beef in big chunks. We ain't making meatballs. Add 1 tablespoon of live seasoned salt, and you want to mix everything well. Do not drain any of this fat off. Most spaghetti recipes call for adding olive oil. We ain't doing that. We already got beef fat, and that's one less ingredient that we got to back. Add your 2 tablespoons of basil and Italian seasoning. Adding these seasonings now is going to allow the flavors from the basil and the Italian seasoning to release into the beef fat. Add your smoked sausage to the ground beef. Mix everything up real good, and then you can go ahead and add your vegetables. Just pour them all in there together. Mix up everything well, cover, and you want to cook the vegetables until they soft. Just so you know, the celery is going to take the longest to get soft. Once the celery is soft, move on to the next step. Once the vegetables are soft, add 1 cup of Kraft grated Parmesan cheese and mix well using the silicone spatula until the Parmesan cheese has melted. Here's the deal. If you do not use a silicone spatula, the Parmesan cheese gonna stick to whatever you using like it's a one-man epoxy. So go ahead, be hard-headed. You gonna see, you're gonna be using a butter knife to scrape off the cheese. Ask me how I know. This brings me to another point when making a dish like spaghetti. I cannot stress how important it is to season your meats and vegetables, not the sauce. You're gonna use your whole spice cabinet trying to flavor the sauce. Now that we got the meat and vegetables all seasoned up and mixed well, open up and add your 2 big cans of Hunt's faux cheese sauce. You want to mix everything well. Make sure that you scrape the bottom of the pot to make sure that the sauce and the meat get mixed up evenly. Now, if you don't have Hunt's, just use the store brand faux cheese sauce. But don't buy the Ragu, Prego, or other premium brands. Ain't nothing wrong with them. It's just that they already got a bunch of sugar in them, and we want to make sure we put our own sugar in there for this recipe. Speaking of sugar, add a 1/2 cup of Domino dark brown sugar. Now, if you ain't got Domino brand in your area, just make sure that you use dark brown sugar. Not light brown sugar, not white sugar, but say it with me, dark brown sugar. Order off Amazon if you got to. See, when people tell me they hate sugar in spaghetti, hey, that's because they folks use plain white sugar. Plain white sugar just make it sweet for no reason. Not only do the brown sugar provide more depth of flavor from the molasses, but the dark brown sugar also going to reduce the acidity of the tomato so you don't get that battery acid heartburn we gotta eat like 5 tons. Go ahead, turn the heat down low so we can keep the sauce hot without burning it. You're going to continue to stir the sauce frequently until the spaghetti is cooked and ready to add to the sauce. You want to keep stirring it so it don't stick to the bottom of the pot. Now to cook your spaghetti, you need to fill your pot with water and add a tablespoon of salt. Once the pot comes to a rolling boil, break the spaghetti up into 3 pieces and add it to the boiling water. Now breaking up the spaghetti make it easy to cover your noodle with the meat sauce evenly, and you're going to want to cook your noodles until they're al dente, which is about 10 to 11 minutes for the Barilla No. 5 spaghetti. Look at your package for exact cooking times if you're going to be using a different rate. Drain the water from the spaghetti, but do not, under any circumstances, rest spaghetti. If you do that, you are committing a war crime. The starch on the spaghetti serving helps the sauce stick to it. So you're going to add your drained spaghetti and whatever remaining water to the sauce, because adding the starch with water also going to help make the sauce even smooth. After spaghetti been added, you're going to want to turn down the heat to the warming setting or the lowest that your stove can go and let the sauce rest for about 15 minutes. So when you come back, the spaghetti will have swelled up some more. Mix it all up again from the bottom before you serve it and enjoy it. As my granddaddy Clarence would say, that's gonna be about the size of it.
Ooh-wee, no, you want some of that. Look at that. Mix that on up in there. Look at that. That's some good. Got that Parmesan in there, got that Italian seasoning, got that basil. Now you make this. Don't be going slapping nobody mama now. Now when they talking about good eating down south, let's get to what we talking about. We eating good. Look at that. Ooh, that is some good spaghetti. Only thing I need now is a fish sandwich. Your spaghetti don't look like that. Your spaghetti ain't hitting on nothing. Man, you need to get down to the store and buy everything necessary to make this here recipe. I ain't playing. Might need a nap after this. I'm eat the whole plate. Again, like shout out Peblin. Sure appreciate you for teaching me the basics of this recipe. Now I might 3M. I take your recipe and make it better. But hey, stuff delicious. And I sure appreciate you showing me how to do it.